What's going on, man? It's your man Cash right here, Marvin Cash TV. Welcome, man. I'm glad y'all stopped by and check out what's going on. Um, this episode of Marvin Cash TV. Before I even start, I want to, give my condolences to the Grant family. Oscar Grant, may you rest in peace. Grant family, like I said, you're in our prayers. You know what I mean? So terribly sorry for what happened. A couple of things I want to speak on. Normally on Marvin Cash TV, we do the YouTubes or the blogs or whatever you want to call it. It's real entertaining, but right now this is something real serious. If you're not familiar with what occurred, Oscar Grant was pretty much murdered, man, by police officers. They set him down. His hands was behind his back. He was cooperating with the police officers, and basically he was shot. Just to give you a briefing of what went on. Um, I don't want to make this a black or white thing. None of that. Although, you know what I mean, a whole lot of times police brutality is mainly, when you look back at it, is mostly done in the black community. You know what I'm saying? You don't hear too many times about, the cops beating the shit out of somebody in Beverly Hills. Like, it don't go on. Unfortunately, in the hood, our parents aren't judges. They aren't mayors and everything else. You know what I mean? So police tend to treat us like we don't matter. But like I said, I'm not gonna make this a black or white thing. I'm gonna make this a cash opinion thing. And my opinion on the situation is basically that it was wrong. I mean, if you look at the footage, I'm quite sure if you look right over there, wherever it's set on this YouTube thing, if you click on one of the videos, it'll show you exactly what happened. This guy he was sitting down. He was doing exactly what the police officers asked him to do. They put him on the ground. Police pulled for his gun. Next thing you know, he was shot and he was murdered. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't wilding. I mean, even if he was aggressive, let's say that he was aggressive. Let's say he was wilding. I've seen people wild harder than that on an episode of Cops, and the most get roughed up. Your handcuffs a little tight, but not murder. Now they said that the cop, what he said was, he thought that he had his taser out, and that's what happened. He thought he had his taser and he shot. I mean, if this is the case, if you really thought that you had your taser, you know what I mean? If you really thought that you had that, you're a cop. You're trained for these situations. You're trained for this. So if you thought you had your taser, if you couldn't tell the difference between your pistol and your taser, then you shouldn't be a cop. And if the rest of the police force is trained the way that you're trained, then none of them should be cops, or they should evaluate whatever training course it is that y'all go through. And then what got me is, if you were going for your taser, what were you tasing him for? His hands was already behind his back. His face was already on the ground. He was already laying flat down. The other officer had his knee already in his neck. The next move was to handcuff him if he wasn't handcuffed already. You know what I mean? What was your point in using your taser? And then on top of that, another point, another thing I saw from looking at the video, you know what I mean? Like I said, the cop reached for his gun, he pulled it out, he aimed, and then he shot. It wasn't an impulse decision. It wasn't that he was being threatened. And if you were being threatened, then why is it that the police around you, why didn't they pull any weapons? Why were you the only cop that pulled your weapon? No other cop looked around. No other cop felt like it was a hostile situation or environment and started pulling their weapons. This particular cop was the only one. Come on, man. I mean, seriously. It's fucked up. But look, the point is, we can't let this continue to happen. I know y'all saw Marv joint earlier, and he was saying, we got to stick to it. We got to stay on this. And I agree, because we can't let this continue to happen. You know what I mean? I was looking at a vlog right before I got on this. I was looking at a YouTube video, and the dude was saying this would be swept under the rug. I agree. As sad as it may sound, man, my biggest fear is that they'll take this situation, give this guy a couple years, lock him up or whatever, if that, and wait for people to forget about it and put him in some hick town somewhere where nobody knows him, nobody ever seen his face or whatever. We can't let that happen. You know what I mean? Any blog sites that you know about, blog about it. Anything you can do. You got a webcam, get on YouTube, talk about it, express your opinion, let your voice be heard. You know what I mean? Like, this needs to be out. Like, dog, Michael Vick was on TV for months behind dogfighting. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say that the man wasn't wrong, but he was on TV for months behind dogfighting. Everything got snatched from this man. This man's profession, his money, everything. You know what I mean? This situation on TV a couple days, and then it starts to die down. You don't really hear about it. We don't need to let that happen. We need to keep voicing our opinion. We need to stay on this as much as we possibly can, so that it's not swept up in the rug, so that it's not a situation where this guy just gets 2 or 3 years and that's it. Like, we can't have that. I mean, we put a black president in office. If we voice our opinion, we put a black president in the White House. If we voice our opinion, we can make things happen, man. And that's what we need to do. What I want people to think about is this. This is what I feel. That police are granted a certain amount of authority to use in certain situations. And I'm not debating that. I'm not arguing that. That's the police. That's a cop. He needs to have that authority. His job is to protect and serve. So I'm not debating that. But what I am debating is when police officers, when they abuse that authority, then the consequences should be greater. And the reason I say that is because if I go out and I punch somebody in the face right now, I can get charged, whatever the case may be. I can get locked up. If I assault somebody and I get convicted for it, I can get locked up. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But if I assault a police officer, you already know you under the jail. You gone. You ain't. They gonna throw so many charges on you. It's crazy. And what they gonna do? They gonna put you in jail around all the correctional officers who probably friends with the cop you assaulted, murdered, or whatever you did. I'm not telling people go out there and do that, so don't get that twisted. But what I'm saying is they can put you in the same environment and you will be punished every single day, bottom line. So my point is, if the consequences are greater for us as citizens, if we put our hands on a police officer, then it should be the same thing if a police officer abuses the authority he's been granted. I don't think this dude needs to go to some special prison, some prison hotel, or whatever the case may be. I think he needs to go right there with all the inmates that he probably locked up or whatever. Yo, deal with the consequences. You know what I mean? Let what happen happen. Before I end this, I just want you to think about this so I can prove my point a little bit more. Imagine that Oscar Grant wasn't the victim in this case, right? Imagine that he didn't, he wasn't murdered. Imagine that this didn't happen to him. Instead, imagine that he had the police officer laying down, hands behind his back, face on the ground. One of his boys had his knees in the officer's neck, and God forbid what happened to him happened to that police officer. What do you think would have happened to him? Exactly. It's the same thing I feel needs to happen to police officers. Man. You abuse your authority, and that's not just this situation because this situation goes on in the hood all the time. It just happened to be that this one was recorded, just like the Rodney King incident, just like homeboy who got shot in New York 40 something times. You know what I mean? Like this, we can't let this continue, man. You know what I mean? We can't let this continue. We gotta voice our opinions, and we gotta do what needs to be done. You hear me? As always, thank you for being a part of Marvin Cash TV. Uh, Holla at the boys, myspace.com/MARVANDCASH. And again, to the Grant family, keep you in our prayers. Let's just do what we got to do, man, so the situation don't occur. And before I end this, I want you to know, man, all cops ain't bad. You know what I mean? All police ain't bad, but you know, it's a life it is. So I'm calling out to everybody, man, from Oprah to Diddy to Jay to whoever. You know what I mean? Whoever is if you got fans, whatever, anybody that somebody else will listen to you speak upon this situation. The Al Sharptons, the Jesse Jacksons, whoever. You know what I mean? Whoever. Celebrities to the person that's sitting in their couch right now looking at this YouTube. Voice your opinion. Alright? That's what it is, man. Signing out. Marvin Cash TV. Easy.